Okay, so today I am going to be sketching Edinburgh Castle. I would love to do it from live, but unfortunately, obviously during the lockdown, I can't go to Edinburgh at the moment, so I am going to use this reference photo. I will have to do a lot of guesswork here because the photo didn't print out very well, but I'm giving myself some artistic license, so it should be fine. Okay, so I'm using my sketchbook for this. Maybe it's a little bit small, but I will just have to go with it. Okay, so first thing first, Edinburgh Castle is positioned on a hill, so I want to show it in the sketch as well. The castle itself is going to be sort of center top half, and then I'll maybe do some greenery at the bottom. Okay, so I will start from the corner closest to me, and it's a quite a good exercise for perspective. So obviously we are looking at the castle from the low position, so all the lines are going to be coming together at the horizon, and they're all going to be looking down. So I will mark up this gable wall with a chimney at the top. I'm not too worried if I'm missing any lines because it's a sketch, so it's kind of permitted to be a little bit I wouldn't say inaccurate, but we don't need to be super 100% precise. I'm using my Pigment Micron 0.3 pen. It's a waterproof one, so when I want to add watercolor after, it will not run. So I've got some chimneys there. As I said, I can't really see some of the details from my reference photo, so I'm just gonna have to kind of wing it as I go. A ridge, another part of the chimney, then we will have some windows in there. I'm just gonna lightly mark them. I want to put enough detail so that I can see all the necessary shapes, etc. But I'm not gonna put a huge amount of detail in there. It's gonna be quite sketchy. It's my first ink and watercolor sketch of the year as well, so I'm just gonna take it easy and do the best I can. So the sketch I'm doing is for Easy Sketching Club art challenge. This year I'm doing it a weekly challenge, so every week there is a prompt, and everything is to do with travel, world, architecture, and all those things that we were all missing during this year of lockdowns and quarantines, etc. Okay, so I kind of sketched the left hand side of the building, going on to the right hand side, which is a little bit smaller in comparison. I'm not too worried about how straight my lines are, but I'm trying to do them to make them quite what would the word be, sort of being sure in myself, that would be the word. The confident line is always better than the straight one. So just trying to do this as confidently as I can. And again, in urban sketching, a lot of time we will see the perspective, so we need to allow for that. A little wall there, and a little wall here. Again, perspective, everything, all the parallel lines on the same side will all be going towards the same vanishing point somewhere on the horizon, which will be lower than everything that we see. So all the lines are going to be looking down. And I'm just adding as much detail as I can make out of from the photo. Another wall. I'm just going to show a little bit, just a touch of the texture of the stone on the buildings and on the wall, but because it's quite far away from us, we are looking from quite a distance, so we will not see a lot of detail. But I still want to just indicate it just a little bit, because the more detail I'll show in pen, the less detail I will need when I am going to be applying watercolor. Okay, so I just need to do another, a little bit of another building here. Again, perspective in urban sketching, always trying to figure out how perspective works. Some windows I can see in there, and that would be the voice of my kitten Rafa. And I'm just going to sketch in here the lower part of the of the wall. This one got a little bit more of the shape to it as well. A little bit further. Here we go. And again a little texture here and there. And then just indicating some stone rock texture and some greenery in there. Just squiggly lines to indicate that the majority here will be done using the watercolor. And just indicate some trees at the foreground. Okay. I think I'm done as far as my pen drawing is going. So now I am going to do some watercolor. I am gonna be using my ceramic plate for mixing colors. I'm just going to apply a little bit of water to where my sky is, because it's quicker. And then I'm going to mix a nice blue color and just apply it on wet around my buildings. I'm trying to go around, but it's not a huge deal if I go over. And because it's on wet, so I will not end up having some weird looking sharp edges where I stop the paint. And it's absolutely fine to have some paper shining through. It looks really nice in watercolor. Okay, usually I would do a building next, but because my sky is still wet, I'm going to go straight on the next level down. So I'm going to mix some nice cool brown color and here I will need to pay attention to my sort of where my shadows are and where my light is. So I'll I'm going to apply this color kind of everywhere, but then I can go back and make the shadow a bit darker. It almost has a little bit of a sort of red tinge to it as well. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. And because it's sketching, we are not really too worried about being super precise. Here I just wanted to take a little bit of color off. And then I'm going to mix a little bit darker brown and add a little bit of red to it as well, and apply it to the side which is sort of away from the sun on the photo. Okay, a little bit of texture here. The closer we coming to where we stand, we will see more details, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of texture here with this darker color. And since I'm going all the way down, I'm just gonna keep going before I go back to my building. So there is some gray rock texture in there, which I want to show. Again, I'm not too worried about white shining through white paper. I actually quite like it. I think that's the main difference between the watercolor and everything else, is that you can go really light and transparent. So this side is kind of in the shadow, so I'm gonna use quite dark and cool green on this side. And then quite the opposite, I want to go quite sort of yellow here, where I have more grass sort of showing. It's always nice to mix up your greens and to show some contrast in them. And then I have some grass on this area here. Okay. And now I think I am going to just add some more cool gray here on this side. And just where the shadows would be. And now I'm gonna go back to my building. It will be similar color to the to the walls, but I'll maybe just make it a little bit darker and maybe slightly, sorry, lighter and slightly cooler maybe. Let's see. Yeah, this should work. I'll probably need to darken up my wall color a little bit. Just adding a little bit of pink in here. I think it looks a little bit pinkish on that end, and just this side needs to be darker because it's turned away from the sun. So we are making it a little bit darker. And then we have some darker shades on the roof. If you go a little bit too dark, just wipe your brush and remove the excess of color. It's quite easy to do before the color dries. So I've got the same darker areas here somewhere and here. And I'm just going to show a little bit of the darker spots where the windows are. And then there is an arch in here which I want to darken up as well. I think I just need to go a little bit darker overall here. I need to be quite careful because I don't want to make it muddy, so I need to see what I'm doing in there. Okay, I think I'm fine with this. The only thing I need to do is I really need to darken up the wall. Especially here in the shadow, but everywhere else actually as well. The top part of the wall is lighter, so I can leave it like that, but everything else need to darken up a bit. Okay, and then the same with with the next again wall, but this one looks to me a little bit more red through it, so you see why in watercolor we'll always start with the lighter version of the color, because then we can always build up. But if we would start with a dark color, there is really not much we can do in watercolor as opposed to opaque paints like oil or acrylics or even gouache, where we can always lighten just by adding white. Okay, that's fine. And the last thing I want to do is I want to add some greenery at the front here. So again, I will start with quite light, warm green. And then I will go into the more cool and darker and cooler shades, just to show the texture a little bit better.